Hello guys, and welcome to the final series where or the final part in the series where I'll be teaching how to play chess. I think I'm going to still continue the series, but I'll just be like reviewing my games and showing tactics off. So for this episode, I'm going to be introducing how the rooks can be brought into the game. So as every piece and thing on the board, there's a point system to measure its value. So the pawns are generally considered 1 point because of how most of the game they're not going to get to the end of the board, so you can trade them off and it's kind of like expendable. The rooks are worth 5 points, and the knights and bishops are worth 3 points, and the queen is worth 9 points. So actually 2 rooks are worth more than a queen, and yeah, the king doesn't have a point assigned to it because it's just something they've got to protect. It's not something that can be captured. But as I mentioned in the first episode, king safety is like the #1 priority. So that's why someone might start off with e4. Then a typical opening might look like something like this, and then bring out the bishop, and then it's maybe something like this. And then now that there's space cleared between the king and the rook, the tactic that players are always going to do usually is to castle. So when there's open space between your king and the rook and your king hasn't moved and it's not going to be in check, you can do this special move where the king moves 2 spaces to the right and then the rook comes over, and this is to bring the king to safety while also bringing your rook out into the action and into the center. So that's why generally people like to castle. You can also castle this way, but one of the weaknesses of castling to the queen side instead of on the king side is that you have to clear out more pieces because the queen's also in the way between the rook and the king. So king side castle, and then the next move is generally just bring the rook to the center and develop the other pieces so you can get this rook to the other half of the center of the board. So the rooks move horizontal and vertical, and that's why they're considered to be one of the stronger pieces to have in a given position. It's just at the start they can't really do much because they need open space to work like bishops. They prefer like open space to move around it, but then they can prove to their use later on. So now continuing the position from last week, I'm going to set a new position by basically in the code from last week's episode, and then I'm going to drag some rooks in. So now that I finally decided a reasonable position for the rooks to be placed, let's try out this position, and I'll show you like different ideas. So we practice with this computer. I always like to have the computer at the maximum difficulty to always put myself to the challenge. So I was thinking about knight captures, but then that opens up the bishop to capture the rook. So that's not a good idea. Alternatively, pawn takes. I think I tried this before last week. But obviously the position is different now as the rook's on board. And I guess the benefit of capturing this pawn is it puts an attack on the queen of attack as well. So I think this works well. Let's see what happens. Yes, okay. Capture this pawn here because I want to move this pawn up. But the moment I move this pawn up, this pawn will be undefended. Right now the only thing that's defending this pawn is the pawn behind it. So I'm going to capture it and then that's the first mistake. Oh yes, I forgot. So I made the mistake of going after this pawn without realizing my bishop's under attack by this rook. The nice thing about practicing XP is that you can take back a move and try again. So I'm going to move my bishop to here so it's defended. Now everything's defended. Okay, apparently that's a blunder as well. I don't yet see why. not strong enough to see what the immediate problem is. It looks quite nice actually, because now the knight's not defending this pawn. I've got more attack than they have defense on the square. Okay. Oh well, it's attacking them. Okay, I'll give myself one more chance. But I'll give myself one more chance to have a look at this. Just because it's boring probably watch me play it for you guys. The problem is the queen and the bishop are working together, attacking the knight and the rook. So I think for now I'm kind of worried about this move, because that's when it attacks the queen and the rook. It's going to get one of them if I don't move them away from the attack. So I'll just bring this rook here. Maybe. Yeah, see. Okay. Yes, okay. Yeah, it makes sense. So capture there. That knight captures it. Let's try this. Okay. Still attacking my queen, but I think it's safe here. There's no way it can be attacked now. Easily anyways. Let's try this. Oh right, I left the defense of my knight. Okay. Well, I could just bring my knight away somewhere. Let's go like here. I don't know actually. It's not even frightening anything. Let's try this. Okay. So now the stockfish has moved the queen here, threatening a discovery attack when they move their knight. And then the discovery attack is basically when the check is revealed. So after if I don't move my king after stockfish moves their knight, I'll be in check from the queen, and this will result in them stockfish picking up my queen after having to deal with check. So I think gotta move like here, I guess, because if I move there, the problem's still there with the discovery check from this diagonal. From this diagonal, that's trying to point to. And I guess the issue is if I move to d1 as this check here, and then it looks like it's checkmate. It's not looking too great. You know what? Let's bring the knight back. No, that's not going to help. Because the problem is this attack here. if I just move my queen out the way. Okay. Now it's a forced checkmate. Got the knight. Okay. Just getting bullied. Okay, it's not a check. But still forced mate too. Well, anyway, that was it for the final episode in the series on covering how to play chess. Yeah, in the next episode I'll be covering one of the games that I play at my local chess club. Yeah, see you next week for that.